Guess who's back? Back again. It's not Slim Shady.
Oh,
it's
shit.
my short friend.
What would it
Alex.
be? Not Slim Shady. It would be
Why
like.
would you interrupt the flow of that rap and fuck it up? Because I had more shit, but now it's gone.
Yeah, it would be Pudgy Shady, I guess, at this point. But anyways, hey everybody,
fine.
I'm back.
Hey, you know what? I showed up last week.
You did?
You did.
I wasn't saying you were Slim Shady. I was saying I'm Pudgy Shady.
Your belly was a little bit thicker than I thought it was.
Listen, when I got out, when
the fuck is that video coming? I sent
you just sent it to me.
Bitch, I sent it to you last week. That video needs to come out.
Listen, welcome to Bass and Brews, your weekly distraction from high quality podcast. I'm Alex. He's Paul. We've got Matt with us here tonight. Before we get to Matt, I want to remind everybody, if you guys want to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/bassandbrews. That's patreon.com/bassandbrews. It helps keep the show running. It also gives you access to Last Call with Alex and Paul, the monthly live Patreon exclusive show that we do with you guys, the producers. That's what we like to call you folks. And it's awesome. bassandbrews.com/bassandbrews. No, patreon.com/bassandbrews. Jeez. Also, I want to, if the Discord has been kind of popping off a little bit in a way that I didn't think it would, as in, if you guys want to be part of the Discord, you can hit me up on all the socials or email me at bassandbrews@gmail.com. But we got a book club. Paul's shaking his head.
Fucking nerds.
Fucking nerds. All right, we got a book club, and we're going to start it off. So you can head over to that Discord if you want to be part of it. You can. We're going to sit there and talk about this book selection. But this selection comes from Ramon. It was kind of everybody decided we're going to go with it. It's On the Run, An Angler's Journey Down the Striper Coast by David B. Benedetto. This is going to be this guy chronicling traveling 1,500 miles on the North Carolina coast, searching for stripers as they come down. It's supposed to be funny as shit.
On the Run sounds more like a kayak fishing or fishing in general boat launch at 5:30 in the morning.
It does.
Where, the porta potties haven't been cleaned and/or there aren't any and/or they're nasty. And so nobody's there yet. You're one of the first folks. You take a little duke, and it's not one you can pick up with some sticks and throw off in the woods or something like that. And On the Run,
yeah,
got poop running down the ramp.
Fantastic! I'm glad you could add that to the conversation.
I'm here not to do anything but show up, look beautiful.
Ain't that the truth?
And interrupt the fuck out of you. Matter of fact, speaking of interrupting people, go fuck yourself, John King, a.k.a. Drunkwood. I do what I want. It's my podcast.
I meant to load up that clip.
At least I didn't show up to a podcast drunk in bed with my wife sleeping beside me, and the only thing you could see was his white-ass bleached teeth.
That shit was so funny.
And it's John King, so his asshole is just as white as his teeth, too. He'd be bleaching his whole body.
I think I meant to bring up that clip, just a little chronicle of Drunkwood. We were getting weekly reviews from him about how bad we were doing at hosting the show. And then we didn't get him for a while, and now we got one. The latest one is him taking it was mid-shit as he decided to give us a review. So, also, speaking of reviews, head over to Apple Podcasts, go leave a 5-star review, and then be as mean as possible. We haven't had one in a hot minute, but the rules are simple. You leave 5 stars, as mean as possible, and we will read them on air. Paul, you got any more introductions before we get to Matt?
I do and I don't, and sometimes you just have to put shit together to make it hang together. Because, if you don't put it together, it won't be together.
Everybody think on that one real long. Go ahead, Paul.
No, that's all I had to say.
All right, we've got Matt, Veterans Fishing. What's going on, Matt?
How we doing, guys?
We're doing good. Paul's still looking at his phone. I can see it in his glasses.
I have importantness. I've got some important shit to do with Veterans Fishing.
Okay.
It's probably my most viral moment on Instagram, and it didn't even come from my post. It was me commenting on a post that he stole from somebody. So it was wonderful. I texted him and Alex about it. I was so excited. The comments are golden. there's like 1,000 comments plus, so we can't really get into all of it. But we will talk about it a little bit later in the podcast and go through how it started with. We'll read out some comments from it because it was a good time and it made me feel good about myself.
All right, do your stupid intro, Paul.
Hey, Matt, welcome to Bass and Bruce podcast.
Fucking word.
Pleasure to be here.
That's what everybody says, and then at the end they're like, "God damn, when is this shit gonna end?"
Yeah, I mean, 90 minutes is a lot can change.
Yes, it can. I told my wife that, and it only took 3.
That's a long time.
Well, Matt, you and I have met in person. You live down here in North Carolina. You're from, the northeastern. I don't know what to call it. Fucking northeast, the King's East. I don't know. You're Massachusetts, New Hampshire, somewhere, Connecticut, because you knew Bobby. Bobby came down and visited a couple years ago. We've talked about that on here. And you showed up to the boat ramp on probably one of the worst fishing days that we could have ever been out on the water. It was windy as fuck, and then it started raining, and it rained before. It was just terrible. It was a terrible weekend for fishing. We had a good time, but, we got to meet there. We kept in touch, and I was like, I said it then. We got to get you on. And then Alex and I are terrible podcast hosts. We really suck at our job. And finally, I was like, fuck, got to get Matt on. So here we are. But, Matt, the question that we ask everybody on the first time that they've been on this podcast is, I was waiting on Alex to
I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, is this frozen?
No, but it looked frozen because Alex wasn't moving, so I was gonna stay
really
not
was.
moving to see how long it would take. But no, man, what's a journey that has brought you where you are today, sitting in front of Bass and Brews? Because we got a lot to talk about. I want to know what is the path that you walked to get where you are today on probably the second shittiest fishing podcast on the internet.
Well, I was gonna say one of the top 3, no doubt, but second is definitely good. I appreciate you having me on, and a lot has brought me to this point of being in North Carolina, being where I'm at today as a person, as a dad, as a business owner, as a wannabe social media manager, whatever you want to call it. I hate the term creator. Honestly, that's just me personally.
No, bitch, you're a creator the rest of the night. The next hour and a half, you are a creator. What's some other words that you hate that we can call you this whole podcast?
He don't messed up.
Yankee.
You're goddamn definitely sure one of them motherfuckers.
You named every state from New England that I could have been from except the one I'm actually from, which is Maine.
Oh, I was going to think Delaware.
It's like the North Carolina of the North.
Okay, except y'all have lobsters, and we got scrimps.
Yep, pretty much. So, to answer your question, I mean, what's brought me here is a lot. I started this in like 2016, 2017, and it was originally just started as
What? You're already interrupting him.
He said he started this.
Oh my god!
But we don't know what the fuck this is. What did you start? What are you talking about?
There's a nicer way you can do that than interrupting.
No, there's not. This is Bass and Brews. If you don't introduce, look, we do not on Bass and Brews. We do not ask you for an introduction. We don't go do homework for an introduction. So when we ask this question, you've got to come prepared to tell us what the fuck you're talking about. And he said, I started this. And I can guarantee you, everybody listening right now has no idea. Look, bitch, you better put that up. I got a bigger one than you do. And we ain't talking about dicks, y'all.
Hey, yeah, make sure you guys are over on YouTube. They just showed their wieners.
Look, all right, Matt, you said I started this. What is this? Because this is the most important part of the whole fucking show.
Okay, well, this isn't what I anticipated it ever being. Just to get that out of the way. When I started this was intended to be a community of veterans.
What is this, Matt?
I'm
What is
getting
this?
at it. Let me explain it.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were rambling again.
No,
Okay,
he's trying to
okay,
fucking do
continue.
it. Jesus.
Continue. It's
So-
my ADHD is like on
Circa-
fire right now.
Circa 2016, I was in a very, very like weird period of time. All right. I had just given up drinking. I was in the bad spot marriage-wise, bad spot job-wise. I was just miserable. I hadn't dealt with anything that I had been gifted, as you want to say, from my experiences in the military. Just bad spot. So I started it because the handle was available, and what better idea than to start a community of fucking veterans that go fishing together. So it literally just started as me like highlighting these dudes and these chicks that I was talking to that are veterans online and putting their pictures up on the page and just telling a little blurb about them and their service. And this is morphed into me being almost like the Trivago for veterans that want to find places to go fishing. I have become a central part of people trying to find connections with other vets, with other nonprofits, with which, to clear the air, I am an LLC that keeps no money. A tax guy looks at my business paperwork and my business model and is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't do nonprofit because of a few reasons. And they've been reasons that I've held on to for a little bit too long, but I'm actually getting ready to go that route because of what the business and the pages and all that shit has become now. Yes.
Hurry up, Paul. Hurry up, Paul.
We still don't know what this is.
Oh, my God.
What is this? What is it called?
Veterans fishing.
Thank you.
He was waiting.
All
for
you
that.
had to do was lead off with that, with the first, what the fuck is this question? And Alex is over here all in got his panties in a
I just noticed my fucking name. What is this?
What are you talking about?
What the fuck is this?
You typed it in, Matt.
But Matt, you have to realize this. No matter what your name is on that screen, the majority of our listeners listen. They're not on YouTube, so they couldn't see your fucking name. All right. So we, all right, let me wrap this up. So everything Matt's talking about right now is called veterans fishing. And I tried to give him the opportunity twice to answer it. Alex chimed in with some bullshittery because he already knows. Like, you have to come to this, Alex, as a host.
I introduced him as Matt from Veterans Fishing.
You know what? I didn't hear it, and I'm here right now.
Because you were
so
staring at your
phone. Either.
I used to work on these, which doesn't leave me a lot of room in the real world to understand.
Is that a fucking howitzer?
That's crazy because
is that a howitzer? Was it like a 55 millimeter, 180?
155.
I was close. I had the two numbers.
What would you guys use that for? Paul told me that you were in the Salvation Army. So did you use that to like shoot donations over or? Like that's
exactly good. We'd pile them up in a tube and boom, fucking launch them.
Like what Matt's not telling you is he started it because he was in the Salvation Army and he wanted to meet veterans to hang out with so he could stolen valor them because he looks real good in the uniform. I saw a picture. It's got like the Santa suit and it's got the whole bell that he just carries around. Yeah.
Hey, that's okay, Matt. I don't know if you know, but Alex is just a step up from the Salvation Army as a vet.
Hell yeah.
The fucking Coast Guard.
Yeah, we're not at the bottom. Fuck the Salvation Army.
He's a retired Coast Guard veteran. So, you got the Salvation Army and then the Coast Guard and then, all the good people after.
We're definitely above Space Force. We got to be. Like Matt, would you agree? Hold on. Before we go any farther, I want you to rank the branches of military. Let's start at the top. What's your number one branch?
It's Marines, without a doubt.
Marines, you know what? I would say Marines as well. Number two, what do you got, Matt?
Number two is a tough one. And I've been asked this question quite often, and it's kind of split down the middle for me. So, I mean, if you're factoring in everything about it, number two is the Navy for me.
I've
Whoa.
never heard anybody say
Whoa,
the Navy.
Matt Collins is gonna be like, "What, bitch?"
So number 2, I would say, is the Coast Guard. It's a great branch. It's a great branch to be in because we don't have housing really, so you always get BAH. So as long as you're not on like fucking Staten Island or some shit, you can like pocket that money. We do cool shit. The Navy, that's wild. All right, what's number 3?
Number 3 would definitely be the Coast Guard for me.
Okay. I would say number 3 is the Air Force. You do get, the perks of being on the best bases and all the branches, and they drop bombs and go burr. That's pretty sweet.
Yep.
All right. What do you got, number 4?
Air Force.
Okay.
I knew where this was going after the second answer.
Number 4. Number 4, I'd probably put the Army number 4. Like, yeah, I'd put him number 4.
Yep.
And that's the regular Army, not the Salvation Army.
Yeah, you're waiting on that one.
Yeah. All right, what do you got, number 5?
Oh, what's left? Space Force.
Space Force, okay. I would also put Space Force at number 5, and so your number 6 is the U.S. Army. And number 6, I'm putting the U.S. Navy. It's just like the Army, but wet. It's fucking gross.
But they're like the Coast Guard, but they actually have real guns on their boats.
They do. Pretty big ones. Yep.
Cool.
Y'all got shotguns and water cannons, bitch.
Yeah. Guess what? The Harry S. Truman has been out for like 9 months. They've dropped 2 planes into the drink, and they're crying about it because they've been underway. 3 planes into the drink. I think each of those planes is like $65 million.
That's it.
And guess what? The Coast Guard's
Coast
doing right now. The Coast Guard's in Costa Rica sipping Mai Tais, getting fucked up with a bunch of yayo on their boat.
Because they ain't got nothing on. You ain't got 65. The ship ain't worth 65 million. Y'all are on.
That's probably that might be true. Some of them older ones.
I know.
Yeah.
You were on an older boat. Wasn't your boat like 65 years old or
The
40 years old?
the first ship that I was on was commissioned in 1957, and it's still in active service.
Before the Cold War.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the newer ones, the last 3 that I did, those were all like brand new boats. But yeah, the good old Coast Guard cutter Steadfast, it is still in active service. It is still busting drugs at a max speed of 13 knots, which comes out to like 17 miles per hour.
Hey,
That's
Matt.
true.
Hey,
Yeah.
Matt. We've talked extensively on his last deployment, and he called that a new boat, but they had to they had to hold off 3 weeks deployment because the fucking sewer system on the boat wasn't working, and shit was going up in their toilets.
No. It wasn't. It was in the toilets. It was working when you flush. The poop left the toilet. The problem was it would go to another toilet, a deck below, or out of a pipe.
Yeah.
Like a pressure valve would be so built up full of Duke that all of a sudden it would blow the top of it and spray. And that's where we put all the new E6s. Make sure they sit right next to that fucking valve.
Hey, Matt, do you want to know how when they got to the boat, which toilets weren't working or were? There was crayon on the mirror above
I forgot
the
about the mirror.
Toilet doesn't work or some shit. I don't remember exactly.
It
Sent me
said
a picture
shitter.
of it.
It said shitter doesn't work.
Shitter's broke. That's the Coast Guard's new boats.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Shitter's full.
Hey, you know you had a Marine that was in there that wrote that because it's written in crayon.
I knew you couldn't help yourself, but
Listen,
I didn't
this guy
serve. I'm
was.
just
He didn't even serve. He's stolen.
No,
I wear it like a badge of honor, man. Bring it on.
He's stolen valored that military joke.
I'm regurgitating the shit that have been on this podcast that folks that did serve said, specifically to Alex. I'm just regurgitating what they said. I'm not claiming any of this. I'm just saying what other people in other military branches said to Alex.
Paul,
and I love it.
since you're my podcast wife, I wonder if we can get you a dependent card, and you
Ooh,
can.
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you get me one?
There's a page called Dependas Lead the Way, and I know her. So
Dependas lead the way. If anybody doesn't know, there's like Dependa is the worst dependent wife. It's the lady who says like, "You will address me by my husband's rank." They think they're
military
fucking,
wife Karen.
yeah, they're the fucking worst.
Ooh.
Thankfully, again, because they normally crop up around housing. It's always fucking housing is the problem.
Sure. That's where they grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Alex doesn't have to worry about that problem because he was only 2 E's above the lowest.
I don't get it.
You're an E6. You start out as an E4.
No, you start out as an E1. Learn how to fucking count.
Well, bitch, I don't know. I'm just talking about. You always talk about. I retired as an E6, and people like to make fun of people who retired as E6.
That's in the Coast Guard, though. The other branches, it's kind of okay to retire out as an E6, depending what your job was. It's only the Coast Guard. No, you don't think so either, Matt?
Even out of the Marines, if you retire as an E6, you're a shitbag.
Yeah. Well, that's me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had to make sure I didn't drink piss.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
All right, back to God. See, Matt, welcome to Bass and Brews. Your weekly.
You starting over all over again? You want me to?
Matt, tell us your journey. I'm just kidding. 20 minutes in, 22 minutes in. So Matt, all right. So we're at the point you started veterans fishing 2016. You're in a bad place in your life. Going through some relationship issues. You quit drinking. I'm proud of you. Who quits drinking during going through some of that shit?
Yeah,
like
right.
that's like something clicked there that made you say I had to make some life changes. And when I'm going through one of the hardest things in life, I'm going to quit doing the thing that takes me out of reality that I can escape from. That's impressive there. But you started veterans fishing, and it has I don't remember. I found you just out of nowhere probably 2 or 3 years ago on Instagram, and you got a huge following there. You do a lot of the online fishing tournaments for folks. So start from the beginning of veterans fishing. You said you didn't think it was going to be what it was, but now it's something.
Yeah. So as the page started to gain traction and grow, there was almost like a call to action, like how can we use this group of people to help other groups of vets and stuff that are already established. And it quickly just kind of became a thing where I was donating anything and everything to like a select group of nonprofits that I had found up in New England, where I'm from. Rifles to Rods was the first nonprofit up in Massachusetts that I ever donated to. They're still thriving. They're doing great. They're one of my favorite.
Was that your first deployment with the Salvation Army, or is this like your second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Plymouth, Massachusetts. That was my first deployment. It was actually one of only, like, people think I've been on 1,000 fishing trips with, through veterans fishing and all that. I've been on 4. So.
And one of them was with me and Bobby.
Yeah, you can count that. Yep. I didn't even get to camp out overnight and share piss cups or anything like that with you guys. It sucks. But I decided, like, okay, let's just fucking sell a t-shirt and see if that raises money. And I didn't sell them like wildfire, but I sold them pretty damn quick. And, fast forward to 2020 when COVID hit, I'm kind of full cycle into hats, hoodies, shirts, and then that's when the tournament started because everybody's bored as shit. And, people that could still fish, I wanted to entertain them. So COVID is what birthed the tournaments kind of, but I look for any reason in any method that I can to raise money to just give on to the avenues that I've found and solidified with other vets and other nonprofits over the years. But I didn't plan to become a guy that averages over 500 DMs a day. I didn't plan to become a guy that has had death threats. I didn't plan to become a guy that's had 4 people tell me that I'm the reason they didn't kill themselves. I didn't plan for any of that shit. So when the majority of people are understanding that I'm just kind of a one-man dude trying to utilize this group that we've formed to do good, that helps. It's when the opposite happens, I'm not doing enough, and you're not. I don't have to do anything. Like, I could be just sitting here in the corner, drinking my life away, doing God knows what. But like, I wake up every day and just try to do one thing positive, and the next day do another. But basically what I try to do now is share anybody's information. So for example, there's a lady in Oregon that just contacted me like a few days ago.
I was going to bring that up, but go ahead.
Yeah. She contacted me. She said, I'm looking for a veteran focus group. We're thinking about starting a nonprofit. We're a veteran family. I need some vets to create this focus group. So what I do a lot now is just screenshot messages from people from a variety of different needs and wants. It's either guys donating their time and their boat saying, I'm ready to take people out, and here's where I'm at. It's a veteran saying, I'm Joe Smith. I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere, and I need some buddies or a place to go fishing. Or it's people like that lady with the focus group saying, we're trying to start something up. Can you try and help us get the word out? There's pages that have 50, 100,000, 150,000 followers that charge people for that shit and like get all weird about their status as a creator. I just try to maintain my regular guyness.
Dot connecting. That's what you're doing in the veteran world is dot connecting. Because what I've seen a lot on your Instagram page is that you will get a post that you repost, like you said.
Yep.
And it'll be like, hey, I'm in so-and-so somewhere in the States, and I'm a veteran. I'm looking for somebody to go kayak fishing with. And that's the matter of fact, there was somebody else from Oregon that came a few weeks ago, I think it was, that said that, hey, I'm in this area, Oregon, and you put out a post, hey, anybody in there? And then it just kind of ballooned from there with comments. And then that's probably, I think, maybe part of where we just talked about. So you're doing the dot connecting where folks feel comfortable coming on to your page and going, hey, I'm in this town, this area. I'm a veteran. I'm looking to start fishing. And then you pump it out there to all the dots you've connected, and shit, it doesn't take long before your messages are just inundated with, hey, I'm here. Let's get together and go fish and do some of that stuff. So there's a lot of power in being a dot connector and putting people together that can help each other.
I mean, when you hear the phrase, hey, internet, do your thing, like, that can be a good or a bad thing, because the people that are on the internet in general, I believe, this is going to sound crazy, but I believe it's good people. Majority of people, the trolls and all that, they tend to take over. One guy can take over a whole comment section. You know exactly how that is. Yeah. Because
it's him.
Right.
But it wasn't in a bad way. This wasn't one of the veterans reaching out for help that this happened. And this really just, anyway, continue. We'll get to this later.
Yeah. But it's just like, have you seen the movie Tropic Thunder?
Fuck yeah.
There was a Coastie in that one too.
Who?
The Danny McBride, the demolition expert. They asked his experience, and he finally breaks out. He goes, I don't know shit about war. I was in the fucking Coast Guard.
So when Tom Cruise tells his assistant to come here after everything's celebrating and being done, he's like, a nutless monkey could do your job. That's 85% of what I do. A nutless monkey could do my job. Like, it's just being there with a quick response when people think they send a message, and most people think they're never going to get a response from me. And I love wowing people when I'm just like, hey, how you doing? Like, you need what? Like, how can I help? And
makes you feel good.
But with all that comes, you know, a small pile of shit every day. You know, there's always going to be the people that try to ruin things, try to rain down negativity, throw shade, all that shit. Like, and that's emboldened me really in the last couple of years. Like, there was a period of time where I got like 3 death threats in a month, and I'm like, maybe I should shut this down. Like, this is getting a little weird. And that was simply because I was finally saying what was on my mind about, for example, the VA. Okay, there's a lot of back and forth about they're good, they're bad. I'm not necessarily saying any of that. I'm just saying, here's what I've experienced. Here's what my friend so-and-so has sent me an experience. And I'm going to say whether it's good or bad. And there'll be people, I don't know who they are. Maybe you should keep your mouth shut or we'll shut it for you. And it's just a no profile picture of somebody and it escalates from there. But like,
Russian bot, baby.
Yeah, I've also, that's exactly right. I've kind of learned to understand how hollow a lot of the shit is that people talk.
It's not like the last guy, I think it was last week or the week before, that you had a post up about one of your online tournaments you're doing, and I can't remember the thing, and I can't go search for it. The guy that said
that has overtaken 48 hours of my week this week. And
it's talking about you don't pay out no money and this and that shit. You know what I'm talking about, right?
That was actually not my tournament. That was Lazy Bates, which I've become very close with. Anthony over there at Lazy Bates, he would give you the shirt off his back. I highly recommend having him on the podcast. But he just messaged me and he's like, man, you should see the stuff that's going down in this post where this guy is just like talking mess, and it's a charity tournament. And, you know, I go in there and I say my piece and it exploded.
Yep.
This individual, you know, fast forward to today, we've learned a lot about who that person is. There's been measures taken, not, you know, I'm not hiding with the hit squad going for anybody. I'm just saying, like,
measures have been taken, bitch.
The internet can tell you a ton, and then once you connect dots and find certain people, you find out that these people lead 2 different lives. Typically, they have their online presence and.
Well, I want to give that person an opportunity. We have him on the show today, so let me bring him in. He's going to speak. No, I'm just joking. That'd be quite the
bring it on. Bring it on.
No, I just how you're talking about this. 2 things come to mind. One, thank you for doing what you're doing, and I'm sure you hear it a lot. But from one veteran to another one, thank you. I think it's fucking cool as shit. I think sometimes we can get in our own heads about trash, and that we have to take care of it by ourselves. But some of it's also, especially when you leave the service, you miss the family that you left, not the situations, but those bonds that you kind of build with the people that you served with are something that's really hard to explain to somebody who's never done it. And what I can tell what you're doing is you are creating that again. But now we're all out at this point, right? And that is way more impactful than I think most people know. It's just that some of that semblance of togetherness, teamwork, good or bad, dark humor, being a shoulder to cry on, a shoulder to fucking punch at the same time too, right? Like all that shit is needed. And this community that is not a little community that you've built, it's a big community. And the second part is I can tell that you care, because a lot of people would just maybe not answer, but I can tell how you talk and how you respond to these folks that you give a shit. You don't want this to be tarnished. You don't want that negativity brought into something that's really fucking cool that you're doing. So again, thank you. I think it's really cool. I think it's, again, it's hard for veterans to ask for help sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But it's definitely easier to ask from help from another veteran, because I don't know, me as one, like I feel if I'm going to, you know, get out my feels on shit, I want to do it to a veteran, because at least they have an idea where I'm coming from, I feel like. And maybe that's not the most healthy thing, because obviously other people can understand what you're
No,
feeling.
fuck
But
that bitch.
having
That's
that
as
community
healthy
is,
as it comes, dude. No,
Yeah.
that's as healthy as it comes.
no, I mean we
because
should be able to talk to anybody. right?
I don't believe that one fucking single bit. Not at fucking all. Because if you do not feel comfortable and you will not
That's true.
open up to somebody because they have not experienced what you experience through the military, if it takes that person in the military, that other veteran, to open up to, that is the ticket. Like you can't just keep that shit in.
Yeah.
Because like
there's three types of people. There's guys that only can handle veterans. They can only deal with other veterans. There's guys that deal with civilians and veterans equally, and there's guys that want nothing to do with other vets. Those are kind of the three that I've found exist.
That's about right.
Which one's the hardest one, do you think, for maybe somebody that's listening that's a veteran? Which one's the hardest one to get over, and how do you think that they should, maybe be able to open up, if that makes sense?
Probably the first one, veterans that love being around other vets. That's as equally hard as the ones that don't want to be around that community at all. Because they get lost very easily, whether it's in the crowd or off in isolation. So a lot of the guys are they get lost in the mix of being a veteran. Like take a big veteran company like Black Rifle Coffee, for example. A lot of those followers, they're just like, they now officially feel like a number because just because the company is so big. That's not because anything that they did to that person, but when a company gets big enough, people lose that like touch. And so no matter what, I'm never trying to lose that no matter what. Like I don't get paid by Instagram. I'm not monetized because I've talked about veteran suicide before and some other stuff that Instagram doesn't like. But all that aside, it's just, I try to remind guys all the avenues that are available to them. It's not just fishing, and I'm not a therapist. Mm-hmm. So there's many times where I have to say, you need professional help. Like, It sucks, but whenever I'm gone and my DMs are made public and people see the conversations that I've had at 3 a.m. with some of these people that I've never met, it's like, I guess that'll be the legacy I leave. But like, it's just the hardest ones to answer your question are the guys that, like, when you take 40 vets out on a boat, you're not healing anybody, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Okay. You might have a great ass time. You might be pounding beers and, catching fish, and it's a big tournament. There's a lot of adrenaline and rush, but nothing that is necessarily beyond that. Like the next step takes place, in my opinion, with people like 4 to 6 people at a time, maybe even less.
I think it's important. Hold on, Paul. I think it's important too to mix. All right. So if you are anybody out there, like let's say you are only comfortable. Again, I'm not a therapist either. Just make sure we're clear.
I am. I'm going to be a therapist.
So I have noticed. So let's say you still are only comfortable. You can take baby steps with this. And the baby steps would be the people that you hang out with. Sometimes I've felt their length of service, you need to vary that. Like if you only talk to, I'm a retiree, right? Matt, did you retire?
No.
Right? Different perspectives. Hold on. Different perspectives on the whole thing, right? I think it's very important.
Eating ice on a podcast. What the fuck is going on over here?
He was in the south.
Like a goddamn horse eating
bitch.
It sounds like a horse eating a fucking carrot over here, like we're at the fucking Kentucky Derby.
But I think it's important to vary who you're with. If you're just going to be around folks who retired and that's it, right? Those I feel like are the hardest, and it's like the saddest for me is seeing folks who like did 20 years and made that their entire personality, and then all of a sudden that's gone. So not only did you lose yourself, you lost all the other stuff that other veterans are losing, right? But when you make that your whole personality, you lose yourself in it. It's really distressing for me to see my buddies like struggling now that they're retired. And I always tell them like, yo, go talk to some kids who only did like 4. Talk to some kids who did 8. some who did 10, right? Because they all have different perspectives. Like the ones that did 4 have, I think, a lot of times, as long as they left on decent terms. I'm not talking about like your fucking shit bags who like DUI themselves out of it, right? But like they have a different perspective. And then you later in life, you're talking to somebody who's, it's easier for them to make that transition, and you can kind of get some tips from that, right? So if you're only comfortable with veterans, I would say try to vary. You don't want to sit at the VFW or whatever and just rehash old shit. Like you said, Matt, like if it's a bunch of veterans all at once, we all have a habit of all we're going to do is we're going to talk about the good times. We're going to tell some, we call them C stories. I don't know. The Salvation Army calls them, I guess, Bell stories. I don't know. But you're just going to do shit like that. You know what I mean? But if you can have these little one-on-ones, smaller groups with different experiences, different branches is also good too. Like you could talk to the Navy guy. He had a great time underway. All his friends and, never mind. His more than friends were all on the same boat together, right?
Easy now.
But yeah, like I think I think it's very important to like vary that. I know when I got out, first thing I want to do is just talk to my buddies who were still in or who had just retired, right? And the buddies that I talked to that were still in were at like the 18-year mark, right? Like they were right, like they were at the finish line too, right? So we had that. And I've been out, March was 2 years I retired. So kind of making the circle bigger where that makes it easier to go from just veteran centric to exactly what you said, where real healing can be done, real bettering yourself, because no matter how many years you did, you're going to get out a little fucked up. It doesn't matter what branch you're in, you're going to get out just a little bit fucked up. Hopefully only a little bit fucked up, right? And I feel like the longer you get in, or the longer you're in, the more that opportunity to get more fucked up is in, right? So it does take some work. But it's good that you build this network, right? And you have so many people who come from so many different walks of life, and we have that same common kind of thread, but everybody else's kind of tapestry is different at that point.
Absolutely. And I try to share my own story as much as possible because I've put myself at my own hands many times through the ringer. And I'm still here to talk about it. And, if you, not to sound cliche or anything, but you wake up every day hating life, it's like, just wasting it, man. Like it's just, and I've had this chat with so many vets, and it's like, that's kind of why I'm not necessarily discouraging the larger trips. I more or less mean that the quieter vets get lost in the sauce. They don't really get the chance to say anything at all, or, there's just so many people like myself. When more than 2 people are talking, my brain shuts off. Here, both my wife, she can literally hear people talk at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, what is your story? What is your military story? Oh, he got a phone call or a text. Hold on. It's a phone call. It's a phone call. He had to cancel that shit out.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. We learned that from the Motel 6 Chronicles.
Yes. Alex was underway, and every time he could come on, he would come on, and he was
at a shitty Motel 6 in San Francisco, and every time I got a call, exactly what would happen to you.
It's literally every time she pulls back in the driveway, my phone connects
the ring
to the Jeep out there.
Oh.
Look, Matt, this is what I have to do at the beginning of every podcast. I have to go turn my Bluetooth off.
Yeah.
Because if I get something on my phone, or if I'm trying to look up a video or a phone call, it comes over the podcast. And we are professionals here at Bass and Bruce Podcast. If you couldn't tell, since you got you got the link for the show tonight at 7:40, and we started at 8. But we're professionals here, so you got to make sure you turn that Bluetooth off. But I don't know if you heard my question. I'm going to repeat it anyway. You just talked about your story. What is your military story?
My military story is I was one of the guys that joined after 9/11. That I had already been thinking about the military, but that solidified it for me. That was a done deal. So I ended up doing 6 years in high school. We can talk about that now or later, but I was a troubled kid in high school for a variety of reasons, and I ended up going to Marines the very next year. So after I graduated, and that was in August of 2002. So
Oh wow, right after.
when I got in, my unit, which was Golf Battery 2nd Battalion, 11th Marines, which is in Camp Pendleton, California, they were in Okinawa, Japan. So they sent us to our unit after we had done our school and Marine combat training and all that. And our unit's gone. So what do? They attach us to just a hodgepodge unit of other MOS kids, and they ship us over to Camp Commando in Kuwait in like, I want to say February, March of 03. So we were sitting in Kuwait while the invasion was basically going on, ducking scuds every day. And we were doing ECP guard patrol, like guard posts. When you come in, we search your vehicle, pat you down, do all that.
Ask
shit.
you for change to donate.
Yes, we have to reach up your leg if you have but it was, it became fairly monotonous, and literally scud missiles blowing up over your head, meeting up with Patriot missiles was kind of just became normal. And here I am, 20 years old, sitting in the middle of the desert. I got there pretty quick. And then, so we get back to Camp Pendleton and we meet up with our unit. And it was weird because when guys get new guys in their units, I don't know what you guys call them, but we call them boots. And so the fact that myself and one other guy that was in my unit had already been to Kuwait, and these guys hadn't really deployed, but they had been to Okinawa, they couldn't really treat us like boots.
Right. You had more experience than them. Probably, yeah.
So I missed a lot of that experience. I'm not complaining one bit.
You missed a lot of hazing. Oh, darn.
Yeah, I definitely got some. I mean, it was still a combat MOS. The guys are going to mess with you no matter what. And we did all this field training, and we found out, we're getting orders to go to Iraq. We're like, sweet. And then the next day they're like, but you're going to be a provisional rifle company. And I'm like, what's that? So they basically turned our entire artillery battalion into a makeshift grunt unit. Like, don't want to say that we were grunts, but we were like the, miniature version of them, if you want to call it that.
That's
like,
fucking crazy.
So we did like I don't know how long the training period was, but we did a whole bunch of CACs, which was combined arms exercise, war games, stuff like that. And then we went and did our Iraq deployment. And that was, the first several months were pretty boring because we were guarding an airstrip in Madiasis, Iraq, which nobody's ever heard of. It's in the middle of nowhere. So you're literally guarding desert for hundreds of miles. And it was just like,
I got it. No one's here. What about over there? Nope, fucking nobody there.
I'm like, my second deployment, I'm like itching right now to get in the fight. And then we finally get the word that we're going to Ramadi and Fallujah. And we were part of the second battle of Fallujah, or Phantom Fury as it's called. Mm-hmm. And that is the apex of adrenaline that I've ever experienced in my entire life, and it'll never be topped. But you're talking several days, no sleep, with just shit going haywire everywhere.
Hey, I want to. What was the? So my wife and I just watched Warfare. Have you seen that yet?
No.
All right, you probably won't.
I may.
You may. All right. So it's if anybody does, E218 put out this movie called Warfare. It's a very realistic take on battle during Iraqi freedom, right? But the thing that brought up to my mind, I've been in high adrenaline situations for sure, right? I haven't seen direct combat. That's not something that I did, right? So I had the question, but I remember being in some really tense situations, right? And that adrenaline pump is fucking crazy, right? Like, you can stay up for days, you're fucking operating on something, but then when it dumps, like, I remember doing ops, like sketchy drug ops, right? But we're only talking like 12, 14 hours of this, right? Till everything. And then that adrenaline dump was fucking nuts, man. It felt like coming off of what people describe like heroin shit, like just like the shakes, the sweats. Now, I can't even imagine being in combat and getting that dump. What's that like?
So you start hallucinating
Yeah.
towards the beginning of your dump, if you want to call it that. I just called it the gas tank had completely hit bone dry.
Right.
Guys were falling out, and we kind of are gunny, and the higher ups looked around and it was like, we gotta go back and do the thing. And we had guys that were injured that we didn't even know were injured. One of my sergeants, who now runs a company on Instagram called Bell's Old Glory Shop, he does shadow boxes. But anyways, he was one of my platoon sergeants, and he was hit with partial mortar shell or something like that, and didn't even say anything to anybody. And so fast forward, he just got a Purple Heart last year or something.
Wow.
And so, we were kind of just, we hadn't seen, real sustained firefights and that long of action. And then we got it for as long as we could handle. And it was crazy, man. I remember going back and just having that 1,000-yard stare because of what I had delivered personally during that several days. And, your brain starts trailing off. And I remember pulling myself back from that several times. And then you just pass the fuck out. And then,
yeah, I was about to say, there's definitely a moment where you're so tired you can't sleep. You've got to your brain has to. I don't know. For me, it has to catch up. It's like your brain was on
drink some water, whatever you gotta do.
Right. And then, but then when it hits, it's like the hardest sleep you'll ever fucking have. You'll hit the rack and then you're asleep, and then all of a sudden it's fucking 10 hours later or whatever, and you're it seems like a blink of an eye. It's fucking crazy.
And the thing that's wild to me is, we weren't doing a tremendous amount of physical activity during that, but it felt like I had done a Tough Mudder 5 times a day. That stress and anxiety and adrenaline, it just takes you like a rag and just wrings you out. And I ended up getting a CertCom, a certificate of commendation, which I still read to this day, and it sounds like it was written by a movie director, but it's a reminder of something different every year I get older. It's a reminder of some crazy stuff that I lived through. It's a reminder of guys that didn't come back. It's all that. And I've met guys in America that lived in Iraq when we were there doing all of our shit, and hearing their side of life is wild to me. You're talking going through a village and you throwing bottles of water out to kids that'll take each other's heads off for that. That's real talk. And so when you come back and you hear people crying about their coffee being wrong, you want to flip a table, so that's just kind of a glimpse into how quickly it changes you, because that's why guys come back different, because they've seen a life that they can't even fathom even explaining to somebody that hasn't seen it themselves.
But I think we have to be careful with that. I think as a whole, all right, so we sent folks over very young, and they saw some very fucked up shit, right? Especially during, after 9/11. Between Afghanistan and Iraq, we sent a lot of young men and women over there who couldn't get a fucking credit card, but they could go fucking die for their country, right? And it's fucking gnarly, and they were shitty conditions, and it's not good, right? But then I see a lot of guys who go through that, and then they get into the well, like you said, coffee or whatever, fucking Starbucks has to wear a uniform where I had to freaking wear a uniform. They should, we have to be careful that we don't, what's the right way to say this? We don't want to make it shitty here, right? So let's not do it. And like you were talking about before with positivity, we have to try to keep that positivity, right? Just because you went through something shitty doesn't mean that everybody should have to feel that same strife.
Absolutely not. And I carried a ton of anger, man, for the longest
I'm sure,
time.
yeah.
I took it out on everybody and the wrong people, and I now it's I'll just be straight up. Like, weed changed my life. And, I'm not going to say much more about that because I'm in a state that's still in between that. But like, I had to get rid of one thing and change to something else for
but it's so much better. It's so much better for you
to handle it. And seeing how angry vets are collectively, it makes me want to counteract that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Brock Turner situation that just took place down in Florida, a month ago or whatever it was. Like that could have been a bad situation for just vets in general, their look, But what I did is I messaged the kid that took the video of that crazy guy immediately. I was like, let me send you a hat. That's not how we are.
Right.
And he ended up wearing that shit on the news. So I was like, yeah.
I mean, it's like two-sided. Like those things will shape us. And it's even tougher for vets to try to have to. There's good things that happen during this stuff, right? But we have to like somehow piece out the good things and keep those with us and learn from that and make that kind of our new deal, right? But the good things, but we can't take the bad things. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of resources, especially when you're in, to help you process all of that. There's, and Coast Guard, it was called Sapper, right? Like it was, you saw something fucked up, you go talk to somebody, they go, hey, you good? And you go, yeah, I'm good. And they're like, all right, cool, sign this paper, right? Like that shit doesn't help anybody. No. And it doesn't help us learn from it. And we have to go through, unfortunately, veterans got to go through times of being angry about the whole fucking world, right? And I wish there was more help for us to kind of, because you don't want to give out all those experiences, right? Because there are, even the bad shit, you can take something good from that. We just have to figure out a way that we can rapidly deploy to help veterans do that. And I don't know if there's a right way to do it or not. It's just, I feel like a lot of times with veterans, we either only focus on the bad or we forget all of it, like altogether. You know what I mean?
That's compartmentalizing.
We live in a world of instantaneousness. We need results immediately. And so if we put out a nonprofit and takes guys fishing, we want to see results right now. Guys might need 10 trips.
Absolutely. Yeah, this isn't a one thing. I can't, again, like I went back, no matter how much time you did, you're a little fucked up from it, right? And it's at your core. Because that's what the job is. All the branches, except for the Space Force, go through. They get a little fucked up, right? Well, I mean, those guys are real fucked up because they've been anally probed. They're fucking with aliens up in space and shit. Like, they're
you haven't heard about them in a while, right?
Right. It's because they're up there fighting fucking. They're in an X-wing fighting Luke Skywalker and shit. Like, they're the fucking worst. I want to be clear. Space Force, you can go fuck yourself. You're the fucking worst. You're the smallest branch now. But you still get like 10 times as much money as the Coast Guard. Go fuck yourself, you fucking nerds. And you stole our fucking name. We used to be called.
They're just counting those paychecks, man.
We used to be called Guardians. And then we had to fucking get rid of it so they could be called it. And now the Coast Guard's called Sentinels. What the fuck is a Sentinel? That's fucking stupid.
Y'all got downgraded.
Yeah. I want us to go back to Coasties. That's what we call each other. But then we were Guardians. And I'm like, oh, that's not that bad. And I was like, it's kind of cringy. It was right after that movie came out with fucking Ashton Kutcher and shit, right? And then they took that away. Now we're Sentinels. That's fucking stupid. It sounds like we're the enemy. Like, I hate it.
Hey, Matt, I got two questions for you. I'm going to pose them at the same time. Alex has talked about previously about how fishing was a release for him. Not so much after he's retired because he got a real job in the civilian world, and then he started coaching his daughter's sports teams. So he hadn't been able to do it recently. But he always talked about how
the real world fucking sucks, bro.
He always talked about how fishing, when he wasn't underway, when he was with his family, fishing was a time for him to release. And so the two-part question here. Where did fishing come in for you? And then also on the veterans fishing side, why was it fishing? Why did you choose that instead of deer hunting or turkey hunting or just being outdoors, hiking, camping?
So So you want both answers to that?
Yeah. So let's start off with the first thing. The first thing, why fishing? Because you're from fucking Vermont, like
From Maine. Yeah.
same thing. Vermont, Maine, Quebec, all the same places.
The Salvation Army is out of Canada.
But let's start off with that. Where did fishing? Obviously, I'm just.
I started fishing when I was very young, and this isn't another like let's lower the mood type thing. But my dad passed when I was very young, but he left me that. That's what my dad left me. He was mostly a fly fisherman. So when people like, oh, you're always hating on fly fishermen, like my dad was a fly fisherman, bro. Fucking relax.
The same with this dumbass short bitch beside me.
Listen, fly fishermen can suck it, but that's how I learned how to fish in Washington State.
So when he passed, like, as a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid, spin gear was the easiest thing to obtain.
Fuck yeah.
And I just took bass fishing from there, and that's all I did until I found striped bass fishing, because I lived on the coast, and you got to be a little older to go out to the coast. But I had to keep doing it, because originally, I had a little brother that didn't even know what the hell had just happened. I was just old enough to understand what had just taken place, like losing my dad. And so I just always know that that was a release for me as a little kid, even though I never looked at it that way. It was just fun to catch big ass fish. I'd go to the golf course and catch 20-inch largemouth like it was nothing. And I didn't care about the size or the, whatever. It was just fun. And why did I choose fishing? When I was thinking of doing the page, I'm like, what am I best at in this world? Like, what could I strip everything else away from and be for the rest of my life and be happy with? That's a fisherman. I don't have any accolades.
That's crazy, because if it was me, it would have been veterans jerk off. It would have been a whole fucking different page.
No, you didn't ask what are veterans best at. You just said why.
Hey, listen, it's just a bunch of us. We all get around. I mean, we chit chat, and then we go off in the dark corner, jerk off, and then we come back and talk about it.
Oh, dude, in Iraq, I had guys doing it 6 inches next to me into their
yeah, dude, I would be in the rack. I'd come back from a fucking a late watch at 3:30 in the morning, right? I go in there. Yeah, my bunkmate's just fucking going to town, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, dude, you need to settle up on the lube. That thing sounds disgusting. And he'd just be like, shut up.
Alex is going to start a new. Alex is going to start a new one after this. It's not going to be veterans fishing. It's going to be veterans pocket pussy, and he's just going to start reviewing all the pocket vaginas out there.
That's already a thing, Paul.
I might have to trademark that.
Yeah. No, that's already a thing. Like, if you find that weird, when we were on the ships, we have ETs. I'm going to single them out. They're electronics technicians, right? These are your guys that fix all your radars and shit like that, right? Super fucking nerdy. They're fucking twidgets. They're dweebs, right? They're the fucking weirdest ones that they'd be out of nowhere, smoking a cigarette and be like, oh, dude, you look stoked today. Everything good with you? And he's like, yeah, man, I found this fucking import pocket pussy. This thing is almost like real life if I've ever fucking had it in real life.
I'm so glad I wasn't on ship, dude.
Oh, dude, ships are fucking weird, dog. I know that you guys did some weird shit in your tents and shit in the desert, right? But ships get fucking weird, and I think it's a whole nother level. Yeah, it's...
That unit that came back from Oki, they were on ship. So they had just spent all that gay time together. Or excuse me, I shouldn't say that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, the fucking Marines, we would, in the Coast Guard, we'd actually deal with the Marines. We'd bring them on as translators every once in a while, depending where we were at, right? And these guys would come on, and they'd be like, this is crazy. And we're like, what's up, man? And they're like, 1, the food's good. I'm like, oh, cool. And he's like, 2, nobody's doing competitive jerking off. It's fucking weird. These guys were talking about how they would laundry on one of the ships. They had to cut through E3 berthing on the Navy ship. And it was just dudes trying to jerk off as fast as possible as a group. And whoever finished last was the loser. And I was like, that seems fucking suspect, but also it seems like some weird boat shit that, like, we obviously, when you're on a ship, you're fucking bored.
It's not just the boat, though, man. Like, if I ever wrote a book and I labeled the top 10 most crazy things I've ever seen,
yeah,
you know, guys pouring orange juice on each other while each other are doing things, you know, like.
We would, I was, I loved, so I'd get real bored. I was a weird type. When I was underway, I like to be busy. Like, I like to stay busy, action. Like, if I was going to be away from my family, I wanted to, like, make it worth it. That was in my head, right? So I'd want counter drug ops every day. I had this one patrol. We brought in so much fucking cocaine. We had issues getting into San Diego with how heavy we were, right? Like, the boat was full of fucking yayo. But then we went to Alaska, and Alaska's fucking boring, and there's nothing to do. So the best thing I could think of is we had decom chambers, and the decom chambers have this really special soap, and it's just fucking powdered, really harsh, gritty soap. So I stole the soap. And then when dudes were in the shower, I'd just fucking throw this powdered soap at them because I'd just seen Super Troopers when they were hosing down Farva.
Sugar.
Exactly. So I would throw this fucking soap at them and then get a fucking broom and try to brush them when they're in the shower. And I did this all throughout the boat. And the XO had to come talk to me, and he was like, listen, this is borderline weird. You've got to fucking stop. Like, there's people naked. I'm like, none of them are girls. And he's like, that doesn't fucking matter. You got to stop.
Dude,
and it's, I'm just bored.
In the barracks, it was literally a different person every night was the person that caused melee. And it wasn't even, sometimes it would shock you. You know, it'd be somebody that you never expected.
Yeah.
But it was just, if I look at it in a 15-second clip in my head, it's just craziness. Like, it's just.
I think that movie Warfare, just because we just saw it last weekend though, but they start the whole movie with this whole combat group. They were SEALs in it, but they were all sitting there watching a porn but they were like doing the opening scene of the porn, and there's like a really catchy song, and they're doing like aerobics, but everybody in this like.
It's a really catchy song, by the way.
I can't remember the name of the song. I can't think of it.
I just didn't know what you'd classify as really.
No, it was like a super like poppy disco pop song. Yeah. So there's that, and then there's ladies, and they're like doing aerobics, but then it's like a group of 30 dudes like fucking jamming out and shit, and they're all kitted out in gear. They're strapped up with weapons, and they're losing their shit, and then all of a sudden the next scene, they're like stacked up, checking corners down a fucking alleyway in Iraq, and I was like. So Amanda, my wife, paused it, and she goes, is that real? And I was like, well, I don't know about for them, but I will tell you, we did some weird shit and listened to some dumb shit. Like Pink Pony Club had just came out right before I got out.
Oh, wow.
And we would fucking jam that motherfucker every time before we did boat ops. Pink Pony Club, and it would be a fucking room full of 15 dudes. We're about ready to go jump on some fucking Chinese sketchy ships. Everybody's strapped up with shotties. But we got to head down here. Let's jam out to the song, and then everybody goes out. Like, it's just dumb shit like that.
I was with Candy Shop by 50 Cent.
Oh, Miley Cyrus. I put
one.
my hands up, saying my song.
Well, he was from a good era.
Fly
No,
away.
Matt was from a good era of that hype up music. Could either go hardcore Candy Shop. That's not too bad. That's pretty hardcore, right? But it could also go to like Mandy Moore real fucking quick, or Backstreet Boys.
I'm a big music guy. Music gets me through a lot. I mean, I can't go to a gym without music. Like, so
wait, hold on, time out. Who the fuck does? If you go to the gym without music, you're a fucking psychopath. Yeah, and you should check yourself in. Yeah. Me and Matt aren't therapists, but Paul is, and he says you're a fucking psycho.
Yeah,
check yourself in.
As the resident therapist for this episode, who the fuck goes to the gym? Put you some.
I haven't been in a long time.
Put you some sandbags in the garage. Buy you a cheap rowing machine. Like, do some body squats. Don't waste your money on the fucking gym. Go work out in your garage for.
I don't go to the gym anymore. You're wasting your time.
It's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Music definitely got me through like deployments. Like let's just, I mean, when CDs would get sent over or MP3 players, preloaders, whatever the fuck it was, like that was the best. Because when you just finish, doing some shit and you're like driving back to, POD or something like that, just you just like, you gotta get it out.
Right. So. I think it's always funny. You can tell on how far your deployment. I actually don't think this goes to ships, goes to anybody. How your musical tastes will change from the start of a deployment to the end of a deployment. Like you start the deployment like hardcore, right? Like we're talking like speed metal, shit like that. And by the end of it, you're listening to Radiohead, just wanting to fucking get home at this point, right? Like you're done with this. I'm done. I've got 2 weeks left. This is fucking bullshit. I'm just going to listen to Barry Manilow. I'm going to jerk off quietly. I'm not doing it loud anymore, right? There's no more excitement.
Ebbs and flows of
You're in the barracks singing Whitney Houston.
That's real. That's like real talk, though. Like
tears rolling down your face.
You'll hear the weirdest songs coming out of barracks rooms, man. Like shit that you never fucking expect.
I love it. Coast Guard barracks are boring because everybody's excited. It's like going away to camp because they let us like live on the economy. So the only time you have to go to barracks is if like you're at a school. Okay. And so we just get drunk. We cook s'mores. We do archery. Like it's fucking summer camp, basically. You know what I mean?
What else you guys do?
Yeah.
It's like fucking Pee-wee. Not Pee-wee. It's what the fuck? God damn it!
No, you ruined it.
Fucking name.
You ruined it.
I was gonna say Pee-wee. Oh, Ernest goes to camp.
Ernest goes to camp.
Yeah, Ernest goes to camp. That's what it's like.
Like I talked to my buddies who are in the Army, and they're like, "Oh, we went out in the field," and I'm like, "Who? What's that?" And they're like, "Yeah, we went out." I was like, "Oh, you guys went camping?" And they're like, "No, it fucking sucked." And like they talk about it, I'm like, "That's awful." And they're like, "What was your deployment like?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, we did some cool shit, saw some stuff, and then we played some Xbox. And, like, at least I was in a boat the whole time, right? Like, at no point am I just sleeping huddled up to my buddy for no fucking reason. Like,
I always like to mess with whatever branch they were from. If you were infantry, I like to mess with you because they get soft so easily. They get offended so easily. And, like, I'd be like, dude, how much did your gun weigh? Oh, mine was 7 tons. Like, no big deal. Like,
and then they would come back and be like, mine shot bullets, yours shot teddy bears.
Most of them just call me a pogue and go on their way.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, though. How fucked is your hearing?
It's pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I have to sleep with a fan on everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Obviously, most guys have tinnitus from the military, period, whether they deployed or not.
Yeah, but you said you did artillery, right? That's gonna fuck that shit up more.
Yeah, it was destroyed from before I even saw the Middle East. I mean, it was long gone. I mean, they expect you to listen to a radio with earplugs in, while firing a howitzer.
Yeah,
no. And in all of that, they gave us 3M earplugs, which you've surely heard about. So great.
I heard they're great. I see that commercial and the one about vaginal rhinoplasty. Those are the two commercials I see all the time.
So
your life is lived day to day with.
And when you first get it, it's like a rite of passage, and everybody like jokes about it, like. But when you're in the field, when you're training, no matter where you're at, you're sleeping next to 100 other guys. So you're gonna have ambient noise of snoring, people crying or pissing themselves, whatever they're farting. Yeah,
the fucking farting boys. The farting boys. We got to ease up on that. I know we got to go sometimes, but sometimes it's too much, boys.
Yeah, well, thank God for bibby sacks, which were these like watertight sacks that go around your sleeping bag that if you fart in that thing, you're only fucking yourself over.
Forever. Hey,
nobody's ever going to be able to enjoy that one. You're like, God damn, I wish somebody could. Oh,
at any point in time, do you ask your wife? Sometimes I do this to my wife. I just ask her to just fart as violently as possible so I can sleep normal.
Oh, God, Mandy.
We've known each other since we were like 9 or 10, and I've never asked her to do that.
Yeah,
you should try
have I.
You should try it.
But Alex is also...
You didn't serve, Paul.
Alex is also the guy that posted a ring camera of his wife ripping one on the front porch, and him looking back going, "God damn, that was
She
a
was
good one."
so mad about
And he
that.
put that shit on the internet for
and
all
it got like
1,000
150,000 views. He
Oh,
was
my
so
God.
mad.
If he gets money from it, I bet she wouldn't be mad.
I
She
didn't
ain't
get
get no
no
money
money.
from it.
Hell no.
I-
I'm taking that shit to Costa Rica with Yolanda, the new wife. Our running joke is she's like, "Hey, do you need anything from the store?" I was like, "A Costa Rican lady named Yolanda, about 20 years younger." And then she proceeds to throw something at me and flip me off. That's usually how it works.
I saw a reel a while back where there was a guy, I guess, a boat salesman, and he's like, it's not going to work out on the such and such boat. And he goes, "Can you send me some more options?" And the guy's like, "Sure." And so he sends all these different, like, ethnic women photos of these different chicks. He's like, "Here's some options for you."
Did you guys have, so you're Marines. So, one, were you mostly out of Pendleton, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So Marines became my favorite. I was a very young Coastie. And I don't know if did you ever interact with Coasties when you were in or no?
Not for any reason, but no.
All right. So there'd be many a bar. Wait, Pendleton. No, I'm thinking of the other one. What's the one in San Diego?
That is
Pendleton,
is
yeah.
the largest. Yeah.
All right, sorry. Yeah, so Pendleton, we're down in the gas lamp district of San
I know
Diego.
exactly where that is. Yep. We
Drunk
went there
as fuck.
many times. Yep.
We're at Tin Roof.
That
It
was
was
exactly where that was.
sure. Yep, I figured because this is like my first port call. This is in 2003, and I'm drunk as fuck. And this is before, mind you, this is 2003. So like, this is before.
We might have bumped into each other. I was down there right around.
I was about to say, I might be telling the story. It might be you. We'll see. But they had a big Jenga set in the middle of the bar. And I'd never seen that before. This is 03. I know it's really common for bored stay-at-home moms to make fucking giant Jenga sets and shit, right? But this is like prior to that. And there was these fucking 4 Navy dudes. And I knew they were Navy because they were wearing the fucking workout gear at the fucking bar, like a bunch of fucking tool bags. Exactly. So there's like 3 of us. We're drunk as fuck. I decide in my drunken stupor that I'm going to Superman through their fucking super serious game of Jenga. So I'm pretty short. I have to use I set up a chair next to the table they're doing this thing on.
I would have guessed you were my height. That's funny.
How
He's
tall are you?
5'2".
I'm not 5'2".
Shut
I'm
up.
5'9". Thank you very much. Yeah.
I was like, God
No,
damn.
I'm 5'9". So I set up this chair though, because it's kind of a higher table, and I really want to get maximum effect here. So then I back off like I'm gonna get a beer. I run up, I launch myself off the chair into this like cannonball into their fucking Jenga game and fuck it all up. And they got really fucking mad. And obviously there's pushing and there's shoving and there's loud voices. And I'm telling them to chill the fuck out, you bunch of fucking dum-dums. And they didn't like that. And it gets into it, and all of a sudden these 3 dudes come over and they're like, "What the fuck is going on? You guys need to chill the fuck out." I was like, these dorks are playing fucking Jenga in a bar instead of getting the P word, vagina. And somehow I'm the fucking bad guy here. And the guy looks at me and he goes, "Are you in the fucking military? Are you in the fucking Navy?" And I was like, "No, I'm in the Coast Guard." This guy goes, "I'm in the Marine Corps. Fuck these dorks." And we beat the fuck out of these dudes. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? I love the Marine Corps. They've always been my favorite because they're rabid dogs like we are. We're just like Chihuahuas, and they're like pit bulls. So it's just a little different. But yeah, that was like the first time I interacted in service with a Marine. And I was like,
I was in too many fights to even count, man. And I grew up in a time where kids bullied so bad, where bullying wasn't even a thing. It was just you got made fun of. Yeah. And so having no dad was literally a thing that people would make fun of.
Fuck.
Like, so I literally fought from like the youngest age that I can recall all the way through, into the military. And like by then I had become okay at it, but
right.
Yeah, dude, many times downtown San Diego, Mexico, like God knows where. Like,
03, if anybody doesn't know, that was when we could still go as service members. Like, you could take that fucking
I got TJP'd for going down after that. And
you could take that fucking tram from downtown San Diego right into Tijuana. Coolest fucking thing ever.
I got promoted to corporal, and 2 weeks later, I got my good cookie, and then 2 weeks after that, I got NJP'd and busted down. So
fuck yeah, dude. San Diego's a wild place for the military, and I feel bad for kids now because back then, like, so you got NJP'd, but you could still do your thing, right?
Oh, I don't give a fuck, yeah.
Right, but nowadays, like, they are so strict. Like, listen, you're going to send a 19-year-old to San Diego. The women are absolutely beautiful.
Bro, from Maine...
Yeah,
going down there.
You went from ladies that were built like Paul to all of a sudden like some of the best looking women ever.
Like do me wicked hard,
yeah. You know, like, oh fuck yeah, pour some maple syrup on that bitch. Right? You went from that. Right, and then
hey baby, hey, your beard's in my face. Can you shave this next time?
Right. It's your beard. Hold on, I just got that, Paul. Like, hey Michelle, can you maybe shave next time we make out?
I don't mind. I don't mind a hairy bush, but I don't want to kiss.
Dude, the first time I walked out on that pier in Oceanside, California, and I walked down the beach, I was mystified.
Yeah,
I called my brother. I was like Dr. Dre talking to his little brother. I'm bringing you out here. You know, like.
But it's amazing.
Bitch,
they
sign up for the Marines and come to Camp Pendleton.
Yeah,
Little did you know, you will never get to enjoy any of those women before you got sent out to go.
Well, maybe
that's not true at all.
That's not true, Paul. Yeah.
Like, whoa, you're married. I'm trying to help you out here, dude.
Oh no, dude, I've been married twice, but it's okay. We're good.
But yeah, so like
you never answered how tall you were.
I'm 6'2".
It's definitely. Oh, you thought I was tall? Hold on, you thought I was as tall as you? Fuck yeah! That means I give the aura of 6'2". Fuck
you have 13 inches on Alex. I'm 6'1", and I have met this motherfucker in person, and I can guarantee you have 13 inches.
I'm fucking 5'9". Shut up.
He is not 5. Alex is 5'9". He'd probably tell you he's 5'13".
Listen, my Washington State driver's license.
They don't measure you. They ask
you. We made it to adulthood coming from Washington State.
Barely. Wow. That's why I joined the military. Right? I was from.
I'm glad you're with us.
Yeah. I was from Tacoma, Washington, which is like the shittiest part of Washington. Yeah.
Spokane is maybe the only other worst place.
Hey, we'll have to,
bad.
Alex, we need to remember what episode. There's been a couple. There's been at least 2 where Alex tells a story of his grandpa taking him camping and fishing, and comes back with some hookers from town, and Alex was there by himself for hours.
That was in Alaska, not in Washington.
Okay.
Same thing. Yes, it was in Alaska. Grandpa, I was just trying to explain that to a niece of mine.
Yeah,
she's like,
why the fuck would you say that to a niece of yours?
I don't know. The conversation came up, and she said, like, no, it had nothing to do about hookers. It had nothing to do about it. It was the conversation came up. I can't remember how it came up, but I was just like, hey, like, we lived fair. Oh, no, she said, because technically I was born in 84, so I'm a millennial, right? And she was like, you millennials are fucking baby, this and that. I was like, bitch, we are forgotten. Like, my grandfather forgot about me for 7 days in the bush in Alaska. And when he showed up, he was surprised that I was there, and he had 2 hookers with him. And he was more of like, oh, fuck, I forgot this guy was here.
Yeah, leaving your kids in a hot car back in the day was considered like the right thing to do.
Right. And now
because back in the day, if they didn't leave you in the damn car, you'd run around the department store hiding in all the damn clothes.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say you hide in the clothes rack, bro. That was the best.
Will the parents of Paul and Drayton please come to the front because knocked all the clothes over?
Who the fuck is Drayton? Nobody's named Drayton.
My fucking cousin's name's Drayton, little short bitch.
How old is Drayton?
He's a year older than me.
Holy shit! I didn't know we had that name back then.
Yeah, fuck your name. Your name's stupid.
Uh,
I've never met a tall Alex ever.
No, they're usually short. It's very
always
true.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only know 2, and they're really short.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you know 3. Way to go.
You're the
And
tallest
you know
of the Alexes, I think. If that's
Fuck
really...
yeah. Oh no, but I meant to mention.
You could put
hold
all
on.
3 of those Alexes together, and they're still not as tall as you are, man.
I meant to mention in Washington, my ID said 6 foot, and I remember when I got to boot camp, they took my ID and they were like, "What in the fuck is this? There's no way you're 6 foot." All right,
yeah.
we are about ready to hit the.
Wait. We got to talk about this one podcast post or
podcast post,
fucking Instagram post. So Matt, you made a post, and obviously while Alex is going to tinkle, you made a post. It was 36 weeks ago, and it was a drone flying over these 2 guys fishing, and I'm assuming it's Ukraine, but there's a drone flying over, and the bitch gets blown out the air. Do you remember that post you reposted?
Yeah.
And so I'm one of the first people that commented on it, and I say, did the pilot make it? And this one guy, we had a whole ass fucking conversation. It's a drone. Me. So the pilot lived. Him. UAV without pilot at all. Me. The pilot didn't make it is what you're saying. Him. The combat UAV is launched by operator using coordinates tracked by GPS. No pilot is needed. And then I'm like, well, who the fuck was flying it? You know, this, and I thank God, finally the fucking comments finally stopped. But there were people calling me a dumbass motherfucker and shit like that.
Oh,
I was
crazy stuff.
you know, people. There were people like, "This is the greatest troll session I've ever seen."
Oh my God!
And so I felt good about it. But I texted you, it's like, "Hey man, I didn't mean to hijack your thread."
Oh, dude, not at all. I rarely even get into the comments anymore because of how vile they can be sometimes.
Is that a kitty cat? Is that a fucking kitty cat behind you?
Yeah, that's my cat. I have a Doberman Pinscher and a cat.
Oh my God, Alex,
hey,
he's got a kitty cat.
I don't care. I got $1 million idea. Matt,
no, he's got a kitty cat.
Matt, you know
he
how
has
hard...
a fucking, and then he just did what you would do. He's like, "Oh yes, my."
I muted him. Matt, here's $1 million idea. You know how sometimes it's tough to get veterans to seek professional help?
Yeah.
We fucking trick them, Matt. We trick them.
Get a kitty cat.
No, we trick them. No, we say that. Jesus, you went way too far.
Oh my God, look at that kitty.
I'm gonna mute you.
So
boom, I muted him. Hey, here's what we do.
I just kicked his ass out. If a fucking kitty cat comes on screen, we gotta talk about it.
Matt, here it is. We say, hey, there's a veterans only kayak trip, right? And so you pair them up in teams, but you don't tell them that the person kayaking with them is a therapist, and they slyly go like, hey, how do you feel about that fish? Did that fish make you feel like your childhood? Is there something you wanted to talk about? This is what we do. We trick them. We bait them in with the fishing, and we hit them with mental health.
The problem is most therapists don't want to lift a finger.
That's fucking true. It is true.
Probably most of them don't even know what a fish is.
Well, I don't think that's what he's talking about, lifting a finger. All right. Did you talk about your social media post?
Yeah, fuck you, bitch, because then we were in the middle of it. I had to go on a tangent.
But what I was going to say about your post, or your comment, is it reminded me of, so there was a guy that asked, like, name one other, oh my God, what did he say? Name one other, I can't think of the word.
Man, it's like having double jabber hammer.
It is.
It's,
make it up.
Excuse me. He goes, name one other communism society other than, you know, like, listen, hear me out. He goes, other than, and the guy
Russia.
goes, right, other than Russia. He goes, the guy said Spain. And the guy goes, so the one that asks him, Spain, what are you talking about? And the guy goes, what do you mean Spain wasn't communist? And he's like, you just said Spain. And he goes, when was Spain communist? And he starts reverse trolling the guy. Just like you were doing. Yeah.
That's Paul.
Yes.
I like how Matt censored saying the word Russia.
Yeah, on his own. He was
On
like
his own.
the
other country. And I was like,
other
Russia.
country.
I don't get political, so I was trying to not get political.
Bitch,
That's another country. Hey, guess what? Bass
geography.
Brews stands with saying "fuck Russia."
You know how hard it is, or how easy it is, just to say Russia and have somebody be like, "Oh, guess what?" Like,
Yeah, guess what? Our audience isn't smart enough to know any history. We're good.
Bitch, hold the fuck on. They're not smart enough. But the not even the Patreon group, but the fucking Discord group is starting a book club.
A book club, bro. It's
but
just
they're
a
not
bunch
smart enough.
Well, I don't think most of them can read. I think they're just going to look at the pictures.
Hey, all right. I have one announcement to make.
Okay.
Real quick. Speaking, so we got Matt on with Veterans Fishing.
Yes.
And then we've also had Bryce Byer. We don't, Bryce and West Fishing, Bryce Byer. He's one of the OG. He's not an OG, but he's one of our most listened to episodes. Bryce talking about his time in, I think, Afghanistan.
Bryce, you mean Wes?
I mean, God damn it. Yes,
Jeez.
Wes. Shit. Fuck me.
You're the
damn
worst.
it. I'm fucking it up. Wes. See, thank you, Alex. This is why we have a co-host. Because when Alex fucks up,
I'm not the co-host. I'm the
him.
fucking founder and host,
When
not co-host.
when I fuck up, Alex corrects me. That's the difference. But anyway, Wes.
Yes,
Wes was a great. Him and John House with Real Heroes over in Charlotte do kayak fishing. We've also got, which you hadn't had him on a podcast, so it's my fault, but we've got Warrior Fishing down here in the Raleigh area with Dwayne Urey. He does some stuff
also
on
a
the coast.
coastie.
Yeah. Yep. He's a coastie. I got to get him on. Alex, don't say his shit. It's my fucking fault.
Yo,
Me and
you know a
Dwayne are buddies.
coastie and he hasn't. We've only had.
He started his own podcast, so you guys took too long.
We've only had one coastie on this show. We are on episode 200.
Two.
Who?
Chris wins a kayak.
That's
And
one.
then- I thought we had another one.
No, we've never had another coastie. We've
had
had
a
all
Green
the other
Beret.
branches. What the fuck does Green Beret have to do with coastie?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Goddamn better than y'all are.
You didn't even serve, dickhead. So shut the fuck up.
I was a firefighter. I was a
Oh,
wildland
everybody
firefighter.
drank.
And the
Nobody gives a
police.
fuck. All right.
But
Go
anyway,
ahead, finish your...
God damn it, let me finish shit. My fucking
Y'all look.
this is. I haven't
Y'all
deposited
look.
this check yet. Do not fuck me up right now, because if I crinkle it, my shitty ass bank is not going to.
Are you done?
Anyway, you know what? Real quick, Backwaters podcast. I was on it last night live. Y'all are going to hear this a week after it aired. Go check it out. Backwaters podcast. Good time. Daniel, he's Georgia Southern boy. We talked a lot of country shit. Good time.
All right. Hey, Matt, we're going to hit the most highly contested portion of the podcast. But before we get there,
Hey, Matt, tell me something.
I want to give you an opportunity to kind of shout out where people can find you, all that other good stuff.
If you
So you
if this motherfucker keeps muting me, I'm going to change the fucking password.
Quit
and
interrupting.
he's going to have to be a guest.
Quit interrupting.
How can I mute both of you?
Yeah, exactly.
You can find us at Veterans Fishing anywhere. Facebook, Instagram. I think I have my own podcast now. So
See, this is what happens at Bass and Brews is towards the end. Alex and I start leaving our guests there by themselves. I'm like, oh, they're
the
like
best.
deer in headlights.
I think I
Bullshit.
got my own podcast now, apparently. So.
There you go. All
All
right,
right, go
Matt.
ahead, Alex. I'm done. Fuck.
It's time.
Boys and girls, let's see how far down the rabbit hole we can go today. Woo! It only takes one.
All right, Matt, we have hit the patent pending shotgun round of Bass and Brews. We're going to ask you a set of rapid fire questions. We just need you to answer the questions. A couple rules with it. Really, there's just one. Just fucking answer the question. Don't give us none of this political, maybe this or that, Just answer yes or no.
Yes or no's only?
Well,
Or
no.
or multiple
just answer.
choice.
Yeah, just
It's
answer the
multiple
question.
choice, yes or no.
And if we need an explanation, we'll ask you for it. Are you ready? Because I want to make sure you're ready, because this is either going to raise you to the highest heights to become a serious angler, or to the lowest lows of the dark waters?
I'm ready for both. Let's do it.
All right. Are you going to spend more on a rod or a reel?
Real.
Makes sense. Dig it. What's better? Stripers in North Carolina or in Maine?
Maine.
Perfect answer. Shit, I just forgot.
Hey, what is the best lobster recipe?
Oh.
This is not yes or no. I'm just throwing this in there because I've been asked it
That's a
earlier.
loaded question. In what form? You want
No,
it in
bitch.
salad,
No,
a roll?
no.
A roll. Stop.
I'm
gonna
going,
mute you.
I'm going to Food Line. I get a lobster tail.
There's your first mistake.
Matt, we
No,
don't
he's
live
right.
in Maine.
Well, then
You're
don't eat
eating
lobster.
frozen lobster. It's waste of money. I'm being dead serious.
You know what? Never mind. Keep going out. Fuck
Perfect.
Matt.
Is Matt? Is it Crocs or flops?
Flops.
Okay, flops.
Wow. See, kayak anglers, I don't understand kayak
I thought he'd
anglers
be
versus flops.
a tactical Timmy.
I'm a salt angler before a kayak angler.
All right. Let's say you're bass fishing for 5 hours. Would you rather have 5 2-pounders or 1 7-pounder?
1 7-pounder.
Okay.
Yep.
Pineapple on pizza? Yes or no?
Absolutely not.
That's the wrong
Wacky rig
answer.
or Texas rig?
Should be against the law.
Exactly.
Ooh,
And he's almost from
that's,
Canada.
that's a tough question, or the one you just asked.
Wacky or Texas? Yep.
Gun to my head, Texas rig.
Okay.
Ooh.
I figured the main guy would go with the wacky, but
Yeah, I did too.
Mm-hmm. Shit, where are we at, Paul? God,
I
how
don't
many
know,
years? We've been doing this for so many years.
Bitch,
And
I have the list, and
Yeah.
all you do is cut me off from answering questions, so I couldn't bring
because
in
you
the
shouldn't
fucking
be
list
answering questions. You should be asking them, dipshit.
It's
Hey,
the
Matt,
same thing.
you're on the way to the water. Is it hype music or is it slow jams?
I didn't hear what you said. On the way where?
You're on the way to the water, about ready to
Yeah.
go fishing. Is it hype
Yeah.
music or is it slow jams?
Yeah, hype music all day.
And what does that mean to you? What's name a couple hype music bands for you?
Dude, it could be anything from CCR to Notorious B.I.G. Literally,
Okay.
it could be anything in between.
I wouldn't consider CCR a hype music, but it's
mean, I
better
would.
looks than done.
Looking out my back door, bro. Bow, bow.
What
No.
about your
What?
back door?
Looking
Somebody's
out my
beating
back
on-
door.
Yeah, that was the song he
Whoa,
sang on the Navy
that must
boat.
be some Marine shit looking up my back door. I
That's
don't
my
know, but-
OnlyFans page. I'll give you the link at the end of it.
Matt, have you ever eaten beaver?
Are we speaking in literal terms?
Yeah, have you ever eaten beaver?
No.
No? Huh.
You're from Maine and never eaten beaver. It's
Not
like
once.
when the fur trade started.
I know. I also feel bad for Matt's wife
Yeah, I know.
Why?
because you've never eaten beaver.
You've never.
Oh, well, I asked if we were speaking in literal terms.
What are you talking about?
Like actual beaver, like that goes and builds shit.
That's an engineer. Is your wife an
Ladies,
engineer?
ladies can build shit.
What are you talking about?
What are you
I'm lost.
talking about?
All right. The most important question.
No,
If that's
bitch.
your
What did I
asking,
miss?
yes, I
Time out.
definitely.
Hey, we've got 2 questions left.
Mhm.
They're the last 3 are always food related.
Yep.
Do you eat largemouth bass?
Oh, yes. No?
What's wrong with you?
I don't eat it.
All right.
Have
fair.
you ever eaten them?
I don't believe so. I mean, when I was a kid, my uncles would catch like flatfish, but no, I don't think I've ever eaten a bass.
What the fuck is a flatfish?
flatfish?
I refer to crappie, sunfish, and all that as flatfish.
Okay.
Matt, how long have you been in North Carolina? Since what, 2018, 19?
No, 2021.
2021. Bitch, down here we call up, you got brim and you got crappie. I have never in my entire goddamn life heard
Flatfish.
somebody call them flatfish. The fuck is wrong with you?
I don't fish for any of that shit. Sorry.
It doesn't matter. Look, all right,
Flatfish.
I'm going to start making memes if you keep it up.
I'm
Good
done with
flatfish
the flatfish talk.
memes.
I'm done. I'm done. Matt, we're gonna have to
hold
go
on,
fish.
Paul. Time out. That's got to be the worst fucking answer
Yeah,
to that question
flatfish.
ever. Flatfish.
Fucking flatfish. The fuck is a flatfish?
Actually, you know what? I just Googled it. I take it back. That is what the Quebec Salvation Army calls brim and other fucking sunfish. They call them flatfish. Wee.
so
Cool,
so
mate.
Anything in the sunfish family, I haven't fished for.
So when you go to the Salvation Food Bank, you don't ask for brim or crappie.
No.
It's like, hey man, give me a dozen of them flatfish.
Yeah.
Hey,
Matt
all
gets
right, all
real
right.
mad. Matt gets real mad
I
when he
worked
puts
in
flatfish in his collection bin.
seafood. I worked in seafood for a while, and that's what they're called. So like,
No, they're not. Freshwater
not,
fish are
not in freshwater. I'm saying in the ocean. They're
Yes,
called
like
flatfish.
flounder,
So that
sole,
carries
all that.
over for me. Yes.
Gotcha.
All right, real quick, Matt, for this last question. You and I need to go fishing. We're going to catch some largemouth bass, and I'm going to deep fry them for you a good southern way, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to make that happen.
Hey man, whatever floats your boat.
All right, every great angler loves a good sandwich. Matt, what are your top 3 sandwich proteins?
Top 3 sandwich protein. I would have to say pulled pork,
Okay, fuck yeah, starting off strong.
lobster,
Okay,
Oh, yes.
lobster roll
Yes.
for sure, yeah.
Love it.
and carne
This
asada.
Carne asada, let's
I
fucking
don't think
go.
we've gotten a carne
We haven't gotten
asada.
that. I was waiting for him to say fucking flatfish and just
Yeah.
end the show right there.
Fucking brimp sandwich.
Brim. All right, well, Matt, hey, before you go, I know every veteran loves to hear this, but hey, man, I want to thank you for your service. But more importantly, I want to thank you not for your service when you were in. I want to thank you for what you're doing now for veterans. I think you are touching way more people than you. Oh, God, that's going to sound weird. Thank you for what you do.
I'm touching
Super
everyone.
important. And, oh, geez, now it
Matt,
got
you
weird.
can
All
touch
right,
me.
everybody.
All
Oh,
right, well, I'm gonna touch both of you guys.
all right. Head to patreon.com/Bass and Brews to help support the show. And then you'll also find out his OnlyFans. We'll see you dirtbags on the other side.
Hey!